Welcome back, guys and gals. Thanks for joining us on another wonderful episode of Her Circle with Chandler and Ashley. And this episode, we're going to be talking about the traveling that we've done together, which has been, I feel like, a fair amount.
Like, pretty good, considering most of our friendship has been long distance. That most of our travel has just like been to each other,
back and forth.
We have some moments of when I lived here and lived here with you, and even meeting up.
I forgot to start
meeting up
halfway.
Yeah,
I remember we met at the caverns. Remember that? That was a really fun trip because we had I think we had my grandparents' RV, and we slept in the RV.
That's
we did
fun.
It was the Karchner Caverns?
Carlsbad.
Yeah, that was a fun little trip. We just kind of met up and did that.
That's so funny.
I don't
and
remember
also,
why.
Ashley's memory is way better than mine. So she's going to remember things more than I do, or better. I'm like, I wish I had that memory.
Like going to Mexico and getting our hair braided.
I tell that all the time.
Yeah. Did we do that? And we stayed in an
Rocky Point.
RV there too, right?
With the littles.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't he have the eye?
About that.
Didn't he take out his eye?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'd always get our hair braided with the beads, but we only did like it halfway.
Yeah,
and
we
then
never
had,
did
like,
the full thing.
The beads, and I would keep it as long as I could for like competitions.
That was the cool thing to have at
so
school, because it just showed that you went to Mexico for spring break. That's a big thing here in Arizona, because you can drive like 4 hours and be at the beach in Mexico.
Yeah.
In Rocky Point.
I loved doing that, and I thought
we did do
my
that
hair
a lot,
was so cute, and
yeah,
I was
we
so
would get
pumped
orange.
to have it done.
Orange was our favorite color when we were little.
Went through the orange phase. So I remember like orange and red and orange and yellow. Like I feel like we had more than one
I think it was orange
color
and yellow
to kind of like
bit.
mix it up with it.
It'd be fun to find some pictures of that and post them.
I remember I would keep them so long in my hair because like I think I made them last until like I couldn't anymore. Yeah, because
you could kind of spray them
like
down
the beads,
and keep them clean.
One of my beads fell out. I remember in Mexico, and I was so upset that I lost
I
the
don't
bead.
remember that. Now they do, like, for little girls, they get the color hair.
Yes.
And it's so cute.
You know, we would have loved that. It would like a little mermaids.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun.
Just had the braids.
So we had some good travel times.
Yeah. That was always a fun one.
We went to California a couple times, just drove and stayed at my cousin's house, remember?
We went to Carlsbad, California.
Beach, yeah.
I only remember me, you, and your mom. I didn't have
it was
pictures
just us
of
three.
it.
Yeah.
And
I think it was after, was it after I graduated?
I was gone.
You were
like,
gone.
I moved, like it wasn't when I lived with y'all.
No, it wasn't.
Like,
it was like you came, I think you came for graduation. And then my mom, we were just like, you were staying for a while at my house. And we just decided to drive to California and just spend the weekend
just
there.
Us,
yeah, it was just us and my mom. It was so fun.
That. There's like, I have lots of pictures of us there on the beach and on the pier. Mm-hmm. And I actually just looked at them recently because I was looking through like trying to get photos of us. You think we'd have more photos of us? But also
we're not very good at taking pictures.
No, but also too, back in the day, we didn't have phones like kids do now, to where you can just like document everything like in every second.
Yeah.
But I was wearing my splatter paint one. Yeah,
super cute. And I had the orange and pink, or orange and white striped like little halter top one. That was fun.
Yeah,
that was a good trip.
On the pier. Yeah, that was fun.
Let's see, Chandler got married in St. Simon's Island, Georgia.
Yeah.
So we did that.
It was a fun little trip on the bean.
Yeah, where did you guys stayed at the hotel where you got married, right?
So we only stayed there. I stayed there the night before, and then me and him stayed there the night after. But a couple of days before, he stayed with his family in an Airbnb. I guess I stayed with my mom and her Airbnb, and then
did she? Because we had our own, right? But I remember you guys all like being at our house quite a bit.
Yeah,
that was such a fun place to be.
Had your own.
I'd highly recommend St. Simon's.
Yeah, everybody should go there, and you guys are all invited. You're inviting everybody to show up to our vow renewal.
Yeah, in August or
September. Well, I guess August and September. I'm going.
Yeah, I already obviously wouldn't miss
So are
that.
all y'all. Just kidding. Well, I mean, I really don't care.
All
actually,
96 of you.
Thank you for listening. We love you guys lots. Thankful for all 96 of you guys.
Yes.
But that's always fun. We actually got to go twice this last year.
Oh, fun.
And it's just, I love it. I'm like, why aren't we living here?
I know.
He's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah.
That would be such a fun place to live. When we would like walk around, my oldest was a baby. He was only a few months old. And there was the cutest little schoolhouse right there, right close to the lighthouse or the beach or something.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, what a fun place to grow up and like raise your
I know.
family.
I'm like, could you imagine like going to school and just walking across the street and there's like a beach?
Yeah, it would be a dream.
Yeah, it's like it's a small little town, so it's not like everyone just walks around. I love the little, like, there's that little library right there with like the little putt-putt and water park and... So it's just fun. Those like little shopping, such good food. We found so many restaurants that we like. I just think about.
What's the one with the crab? What's it called?
With the crab?
The snow crab.
I don't know. Right there, like on like there's called the Mullet Bay.
No. What's the barbecue place?
Oh, Southern Soul. That one's good.
Amazing.
That one was on, what is it? The Diner, Dives, and Drive-Ins.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, with the spiky-haired guy. What's his name?
I don't
know.
Guy Fieri.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah.
His little show. It was on there.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's like a cool little place.
Landing.
Nat's Landing.
That's where we had CJ's birthday party.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah,
CJ's Chandler's brother-in-law.
Caitlin, my sister's
husband. Father too.
There's
Hannah,
some... Which are my niece and nephew.
Yeah.
That one's really good. We found a couple other places. Benny's Red Barn is where we had our rehearsal dinner, and we go there every time because we have to. Always good. I was, excited about my steak and rolls and all that yummy stuff.
Yeah, that was so fun.
But there's a couple places that are new that we've gone to. There's one place that's called Dorothy's, and it's like an oyster bar.
Yeah,
and it's cute, little quaint. It's a little bit like, I feel like nicer. Like it's
a little slightly classier
than the rest of like a small like southern places where it's like home cooking. It's a little bit, but it's so good. The people there are so sweet, and the owners actually are from Dallas area, and they moved here. And like I'm like, wow, just living the life, cool. Man. So that was pretty funny because we saw like a Texas like thing in the back, and we were like, what?
How random.
So Ryan brought it up to, I think, the like bartender in the back, and he's like, oh yeah, the owners, they lived in like, and they like lived like close, like Dallas, not like just like in Texas area, like close. And I was like, we were like, no way. And then the last time we went, there's some like older guy talking to us, or sat by us, and we kind of talked to him because he was like behind the table, and he comes back around and sits, and we didn't think anything of it. Obviously, we assumed like you weren't just some random guy behind the counter,
right?
But he sits next to me, he goes, I know the owner. He's my son. He's like, I'm not just back there. And we were like, oh, we assumed, like, he's like, I had my to-go order. I'm just waiting for him to cook it. And so I was like, oh. So I was like, last time we were in here, we found out that they were from Dallas. Like, so are we. And so he was talking to us about his sons and stuff. I was like, that's so cool.
How fun.
So he was doing the cute little dad thing where he like brags about how awesome they are, which I'm sure they are. But it was just so funny. He was a cute, sweet guy.
Dad moment.
And then there's another one that's called Island Brewery, and it's new too.
Okay.
And so good.
I'm excited to try all these places in September.
So good. Like we went there. We went there. Not this last time, but the time before 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Because we went in for like appetizers, and then we went and ate somewhere else. And then one time we actually went there for dinner. And then one time we went in just for dessert because they have like these beignets like things, and you can have like with chocolate like sauce or marshmallow sauce or raspberry. And they're little, and they're just perfect size. You get like 3 little ones each, and you're just like, they're amazing.
3 does not sound like enough, if I'm being honest.
Well, I mean, you could probably have more, but I'm not big on sweets, and I'd rather choose to eat my crappy food choices and like my potatoes and that kind of stuff.
That makes sense.
But I think about these beignets often. So, and I mean, it could just, people might not like them as much as me and Ryan, but we love them. And so every time we get them at least once. So And then they have really good like appetizers, and their food's actually good. But then there's a place down the way that we really like too, and it's the ambiance of it like is really cool. Like it's a really cool area, and so it's kind of like on the marsh.
Okay.
So you have like an inside, and it's pretty big, but then they have like an outside like porch that kind of wraps around, and it's all facing the marsh. But then there's even like a side down, like you can walk down, and there's like a grass area with like a fire pit and like lights and just like stuff down there that's facing the marsh.
What's this one called?
It's called Fiddlers.
Oh.
And it's like down the street. We've been staying at the King and Prince, and so you can walk to all these places.
I love
those last two places you can just like walk to, because they're pretty close together. And so that place, like just like the whole like restaurant vibes, is really cool.
It's just a fun, cool place to go. It's so fun with kids because, like you said, you can walk a lot of places. And I remember every night we would like be kind of done for the day, and then we would just walk down to the pier, and there's like ice cream, and I love that in a vacation because we go to Florida, we go to St. Augustine, and there's you can't really walk anywhere, and so I missed that like aspect of St. Simon's where you can just kind of take off and go.
Like cart off, like golf carts and stuff are really
But you came to Florida one year with us.
Yes, I
just for a few days.
Managed to finally make it one time after. I'm like, that's just life, man. Like, out of all these years, I've only managed once. One time wasn't my fault. That's when the hurricane came.
Yes, that's right.
I was so mad.
That was a frustrating.
Like, I legit looked at Ryan. I was like, you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
Because I was going to finally meet Liv and finally go to Florida.
Yeah.
And I feel like I hadn't seen you. Well, I mean, it probably had been a year because that was typical of, like, it was every year. Now I'm able to come more. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah. Letting me do this, take care of me. And so I was so mad.
That was devastating.
I was just like, are you freaking kidding me?
I remember being like crushed.
Because then I'm like, now when? You know? So that was no fun. But then I finally was able to, I saw you before, but I was able to go back the next year.
Yeah, was it the next year?
I think it was.
No, it wasn't because...
It was another year?
It was another year.
Why didn't I go that year?
I don't know, because I know where we were staying when you came. I remember the condo, and it was a different...
It was the newer one.
The newer one, yeah.
Okay.
Because the year before
that... And you're right,
Liv
was older.
Yeah, Liv was older.
She wasn't just a year.
Yeah, she was almost... or she would have been 2 at the time because her birthday's in July. And that was a rough year for Heston and I. Our marriage was struggling. So that's probably why Chandler's hasn't come back yet, because it was an absolute nightmare for Heston and I.
I look back at that, and I know obviously it was worse for y'all because you were like guys in it. But I'm like, I wasn't even like phased even a little bit by it.
You were just trying to be like supportive. I just remember you were just like, just being supportive. You didn't add anything.
Yeah, like, I was trying to like listen to you.
Yeah.
But I was also trying to, because I do think there's a lot of things that, I don't say a lot, but there are some things I think me and Heston are alike on. And so I was trying to like speak on that also. Like, I don't want to speak for him because I don't know, but also like know like in my head how I am and try to look at things like that. So I was trying to like be like, you know, a little bit of like, what is it, the devil's advocate, like,
just kind of neutral,
just
Switzerland.
And hear you out. And like, obviously, like, I get frustrations on both ends, and you guys were going through like some stressful things of like,
we had a lot of external things going on, which I think that totally added to everything. And what's interesting is it was like year 7 of our marriage.
Yeah.
And there's that like 7 year
That's what they say. That's so funny.
So we just were in such a weird place emotionally and mentally. And we had left our house because Heston's parents were going on a mission.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to be moving into their house, and they were supposed to be gone.
I think you guys got told on that trip while I was there that pretty much now you didn't have anywhere to stay.
Yeah, well, we had given up our rental, which we absolutely loved.
Yeah.
That was a huge, like, sacrifice because I loved that house. I loved that area.
And
it was
you were
perfect.
moving out of...
We were moving to a whole different town, city, and I just remember... And I love Heston's parents. They're amazing. I would not want to live with them. And I think that's appropriate to say. Most women would not want to live with their in-laws.
Yeah.
Because, and I only say that because hadn't gotten the word like that they were for sure leaving on this mission.
Yeah.
And I had been talking to her, and she's like, yeah, it could be 2 days, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 2 months. And I'm panicking like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to move into this house with like some of my stuff, a lot of their things, which is fine. That's what we had agreed on. And so that was super, super stressful for Heston and I. And like, of course, it all worked out and everything was fine. But like we had that going on. We were in a big like adjusting period with our kids. I felt like our son, I don't know how old he was.
So if Liv was what?
He would have been 5 or 6. 2? Liv was 2.
Yeah.
So it just a lot of like big changes for a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Big changes for little Heston. I think he was starting 1st grade, and that's like a big thing. So, and there was just a lot of unknowns. Yeah. And that was scary.
Yeah.
And I felt like Heston and I, we definitely didn't handle our feelings well at all.
Yeah.
Both of us, not just him. So there was just a lot going on.
Yeah.
But we're okay now. We're great. Yeah. Better than ever, honestly.
I feel like it's funny. Not that I thought back then, I mean, I wasn't in the marriage and I wasn't there day to day. And I'm sure, obviously, you would speak differently. I didn't look at y'all fighting then and be like, well,
this is it.
This is good. I'm like, couples fight. They go through seasons. I think it's healthy to fight.
Yeah,
like
this one, it just seemed to be like the same thing for days.
Yeah, and it was just, and then you're traveling. You're not at home. Kids are out of, like, there's just so much going on. Because, like, me and Ryan travel, and we fight. But we fight when we travel.
Yeah.
Like, you just get, there's
heightened.
Just so, because you're worrying about other things. It's not your normal routine. You're trying to figure out, and we usually travel with people. So we're also trying to, like, accommodate everybody else.
Yeah.
And so we definitely fight. I've seen those memes where it's like, if you don't almost get divorced when you travel with your spouse, are you even really married?
Exactly.
And I'm like, it's so true. Yeah. Like, it just happens. And couples fight anyway, and you're going to go through, like, those lows. And so I never thought anything of it.
That's good.
And I was trying to be like a,
just positive. I just remember you just being like a positive force, like good energy, good vibes,
like,
all that stuff.
I'm not going to be like, oh my God, you're fighting. Like, I remember you guys we're going to go putt-putt and get ice cream. And you're like, do you want to go? And I was like, I do not want to go. And it's funny because it's not that I didn't want to go because of the fighting. I almost kind of wanted to see if you guys had just like needed time.
the time by yourself. Because I remember I talked you into coming because you came, right?
I don't get uncomfortable being a third wheel in arguments. Whatever, I'll join in. Yeah. Like, I don't care about that. I've always been that friend. Like, it doesn't matter to me. But I was like, maybe they need time. And you look at me and go, you're going. And I go, okay, I'm going. Yeah. I was like, you're right.
I just didn't want to lose any time with you.
I had a grand old time. Like, I didn't mind at all. Yeah. And so then I feel like you guys were kind of like
coming out of the thick of it. I felt like.
And so Heston and the kid, so we went and got ice cream. And so it was so fine. It was fine. And I didn't ever care. And I wasn't worried. But it was just funny because obviously I was the outsider, so it wasn't as stressful for me. Yeah. But I also didn't want to ever make you guys feel like it was an inconvenience because I'm like, I don't care. Fight. I'll sit here. Yeah. If you want me to leave, tell me to leave. I mean, I don't know. Like, couples are going to do that. Like, but it's funny. I love, when was it? When I was coming down after, Hassan goes, I promise we won't fight. And I was like, whatever.
And so now it's just like kind of a joke because I knew we were going to be fine, but there were a couple times in the moment where I like looked at my mom and I'm like, what am I doing? Can I come and live with you? Because I'm going home and I'm getting divorced. Yeah. So you're like, you have room for me and the kids, right?
You're and like, what am I doing?
Yeah, slightly serious because it did feel so real at the moment.
And there was so much more going on. I'm sure there's things before. Yeah. Like, it happens. And I think it's really like, to me, it's a big testament of you guys, but just the power of honoring like your commitment and your love and kind of really just like falling back on that and putting the effort into work and not just be like, well, this is hard, this isn't fun, bye. I think, sadly, sometimes people don't honor like a commitment, or when things get hard, they like bail. Yeah. And I just think I see you guys now, not that before I thought you guys weren't good, but like I just see so much more ease and peace in y'all together and separately. And I'm sure that also has to do with it. There's individual work I think people have to do also. to be able to do the work together. So I don't think it's just necessarily like, oh, y'all's marriage. I think you guys have both like individually. But it just shows of like that commitment and your guys' love for each other and making that effort of being like, no, this is real. We're doing this. We have a family. This is worth fighting for. Let's do the work on ourselves and together and for each other. And so I just think that's super cool to see you guys now, because I do feel like there's a more of a lightness to you guys together and just like separately and like as a family. And so bringing in another one, I feel like I feel like you guys with Roan, this third one in, I feel like has been, and again, I'm not with you guys all the time, but seeing a little bit more of like a comfort and ease adding a third one in.
Yeah.
That I almost, agree. I'm like, because sometimes adding in more, it's like, whoa, you know? So I think that's really cool to see that it's just like, you guys are just like confidence of everything too. So it's really cool. I just show that like, if you guys, it's worth it. You guys do that. You got out of that valley in that season, no matter how long it lasts, and it was worth it for y'all to put that effort in.
And we've gone through so many experiences together as a couple. Yeah. And then separately, and him having to support me through some things. Yeah. And me having to support him through some health things. And I was thinking last time, like, I never even talked about when I had the like thyroid cancer scare.
Oh yeah. We just like glazed over that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. And I was looking in the mirror, and I was like looking at my scar, and I'm like, oh, that's so interesting.
No big deal that I just left that out.
Yeah, because that was like a big thing.
That was scary.
I had this growing when I was pregnant with Liv. I was FaceTiming my grandpa, who's a chiropractor, and we hung up, and then he made a comment to my dad, like, Ashley's neck is looking enlarged, like something's going on there. And he's told my dad, like, you need to talk to her and have, like, her get some blood work with the OB and make sure everything's fine, like, with her thyroid. And so I went and I showed my doctor, and he felt it. And he's like, yeah, we'll do some blood work and we'll keep an eye on it. So we did some blood work. And then after I had Liv, it kind of the swelling went down. So we just, like, chalked it up to hormones and stuff. And then throughout like the last like 4 years after having her, it just kind of would get big sometimes and small. I felt like
it kind of,
but it was just constant, like just this mass here. And then I ended up getting an ultrasound, and the ultrasound readings were like okay, they were fine. And then I got pregnant, and then miscarried pretty quickly after that. And I just kept feeling like I need to address this. Like there's something more going on here. And I went to an endocrinologist, and the like nurse came in, or I think it was a PA was doing the exam, and he like looked at the size, because it was definitely noticeable. And he was like, you know what, I'm gonna go get Dr. So-and-so. So the doctor came in, and he was like filling it, and he's like, we're going to do a biopsy as soon as possible. And he left, and he's like, we just had someone cancel, like we need to do this biopsy now. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I didn't even have time to process, and he's telling me it's going to be 2 needle biopsies in your neck, and I'm by myself. It's kind of scary to go through that. So I call Heston. I'm like, the doctor seems a little freaked out by the size, so I'm doing a biopsy within 30 minutes. Someone canceled, which was great, you know. So they do the biopsy, and then the tests come back like with cancerous cells. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of scary, but thyroid cancer is on the like 96% curable rate, depending on the kind of cells that are growing and stuff. So I have a friend who went through it twice. So I'm thinking like, okay, I can call her. And she had young kids at the time, and she was actually pregnant through one of the treatments when they had to do the radiation. And stuff. And so I'm just like, okay, well, at least I have Lindsay that I can call and get a ton of advice, and Heston will have Jarek to talk to as far as like being the husband side of it. So I'm already spinning out that I have thyroid cancer and everything. Anyways, fast forward, they send the biopsy to another person, and it comes back negative. It was more of a like definitive answer of it being negative, which was a huge relief. But I still felt like I just needed to get this mass removed. So they did remove it.
Because didn't you say it was kind of starting to like bother you?
It was getting hard to swallow.
Yeah.
And then when I would sleep and lay on my side, it would push on my neck.
Yeah.
So, and the doctor said it's going to continue to, it's very slow growing, these nodules. That's what it ended up being. But over time, it is going to cause a problem.
Yeah.
So I just remember thinking, I want to have another baby. I want to do this surgery and get it like behind me and move on. But that was a big, like, pretty scary,
the
intense,
unknown of like, what is this? And then you have a husband, like, I don't, trying to be supportive, but also like scared probably too. And then, but you also have life going and kids going that, it's a lot going on of like trying to navigate all that.
Yeah. So I felt like going through the miscarriage together, because that was both of our loss.
Yeah.
And then my thyroid cancer scare, then the surgery, and then Heston's like seizures. Like, there's been a lot of big life things that we've gone through together.
Years,
and so it just makes the like everyday irritations almost nothing at this
You're
point.
like, what is, it's not worth it.
Right. So like we just have been like, I like how you said you just see an ease, like everything just is very more toned down. It's all good.
Well, and it's nice to really know that, like, wow, we did this work and we worked through these things and we were really there for each other. It's like, you are my person. Like, we did this.
Yeah.
Like, I did this with you. You did this with me. You were here for me. I was here for you. Like, what more do you need? Like, you can get through those little things that don't actually really matter.
Yeah, it's not
when
scary.
It did matter.
Seizures,
you guys
cancer,
were there.
all of those things.
Yeah, like kids, like every day, like that stuff is what matters. So it's, I definitely think it's cool to see.
Yeah.
So I mean, I enjoyed that trip. I don't think y'all did.
I thought it was absolutely.
I think me and the kids did, and I don't know about the rest of them. BJ and Stacey probably did. I don't know.
No, my dad was like, "This is you're making Chandler want kids, not or something like." You better be careful, because if she's on the fence, you're just really making it not look enjoyable or something.
But it's so funny, because it's like, I'm not like naive to think that like even if you guys were all rainbows and sunshine, that it's like that all the time.
Totally.
Like,
I just remember him being like, she probably doesn't want kids now or something. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's your fault.
It's totally my fault.
No, if anything, it's like the opposite.
Yeah.
You guys do the opposite for me. But that's so funny. I think, I always think of when our traveling trips, just in general, I think the number one thing that always comes to my mind is when we all drove to Florida, California.
Oh man,
as a family, and
no, it was all of the gymnastics girls.
I thought I thought your family took us up, like your brothers. and stuff.
But we had.
But it was for
is that what
meet.
you're talking about for the meet?
But we were with your family, right?
Yeah, we all went, and we had Ashley and Ryan, the coach, and they took Chad and Chris in their car. And then we were all in the white van. So it was like me, you, Kelsey, Kirsty.
Legit thought it was us and the boys.
No, remember Kelsey? Like, we had quite a few of the girls come to watch this meet. I don't even remember going to the meet. I don't either. Going to SeaWorld.
I literally remember, apparently I don't remember much. I just remember being in the van in the back.
Mm-hmm. And what happened the entire drive, Chandler?
I had to pee.
Every hour?
I feel like you guys are dramatic. I don't think it was that long. I think you guys, your whole family is all dramatic about my bladder. But I do remember crying because I had to pee again.
Well,
I was
so what had happened is,
I mean, I pee. I get it. I know, but
well, because we would stop and then make a, pee run or whatever. And then, so the way my family travels, I've always grown up. My grandparents live in Northern California, Napa, Sonoma area. So every summer, or multiple times a year, we would make this 12 to 13 hour drive.
Yeah.
We were efficient in all of our stops. You stop for everything. Food, gas, fuel. I guess gas and fuel are the same thing. You do everything at once. Bathroom trip.
Yeah.
So it would be every 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
And there was no, we're not stopping if
in
you have
between,
to go to the bathroom. Yeah. So we would do these 12-hour drives with 4 kids, and we had all the same stops the whole way up. So we were only driving to San Diego, which is 5 hours from where we are. There was a lot of stops on the side of the road, and my dad going, that's it, we're not stopping anymore. If anyone has to pee, you're just going to have to hold it. No, other girls would go too. And I remember being like, well, I'm going to go too so that Chandler doesn't feel bad about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then I look back, I'm sitting next to Chandler, and Chandler was a very just tiny little girl, And because we're close to the same age, but Chandler was always just teeny tiny petite. And she's sitting there and she's bawling her eyes out. And I'm like, what's the matter? And you're like, I have to go pee. I just don't want to say anything, but I really have to go. And so I like whisper to my mom, Chandler's crying. She has to pee. Like, but she's too scared to say anything. And my mom said to my dad, all right, we're going to stop as many times as we have to stop. We have a van full of little girls that have to go to the bathroom more. So just relax about it. And that was it. So
to the rescue.
She did. She saved the day.
I do. Yeah. I think I've gotten better. And it's funny now. I think a lot of the time I pee is I like know how I am. So, like, I usually try to prepare, like, on planes. Like, I like to be on the aisle because I know I want to pee. I want to know I can pee.
Yeah.
And if I know I can't, I have to pee.
Right. It gets in your head.
Because it freaks me out that I can't pee, that I'm like, oh, no, I got, it like, it's almost just like a, like, I don't know. I don't want to say
way
like
that you're
traumatic. Because it's not like but it's like a response of like, like I pee every night before I go to bed. If it has to be the last thing I do because I'm scared. Like I have like the wet the bed, or I'm laying in bed and I'm like, oh, now I gotta pee. So then I get up. It's like the last thing I do.
Yeah.
And like if I go to the bathroom, lay down and like read or on my phone for a little bit, then I'm like,
you still get up
I gotta
and
go
again.
Like,
well, even yesterday we like
asleep.
finished recording and then I'm like, are you gonna go to the bathroom? And you're like, no, I'm fine. And I'm like, are you sure? Because to me, like you go in between every.
I'm like, well, now I'm not. So now I'm gonna go.
Well, now I have to get up and go.
And it was funny because right before you said that in my head, I was like, you can make it. You're good. One more.
That's
and then
so
you
funny.
can go. And it's like, I know I am, but I'm like, but what if I'm not?
You
like,
just don't want to have that feeling. I don't want to be in the situation, where you feel like you have to go, and that's all you're thinking about. That's totally reasonable.
Yeah, and like when I'm driving, I do better than when I'm a passenger because I'm like you're driving,
focused on something else.
Yeah, but when I'm driving, I'm like, can I wait? Like I'm thinking about, like, oh, can I wait?
Yeah.
What town? Like, I don't know. It's definitely a thing that weirdly enough, like I plan my life, certain life things around is peeing because I don't want to be in a situation where I can't.
Where you can't. I get it. So that makes sense.
I definitely think that's been a thing from childhood for sure.
Another trips that we would do was girls' camp for my church.
That was just a tag along.
Yeah, which
a lot of
thankfully,
tagging along.
because it would have been, it's unbearable anyways, but it would have been 1,000 times worse. And I know there was a couple times you couldn't come.
Yeah, I went a couple. I don't remember what ones I did or didn't or what years I couldn't.
Yeah.
But I know I went to a couple.
Yeah, you were definitely there for a couple for
3
sure.
Or so or something.
Because let me tell you, if you ever gone to girls' camp, I mean, of course, every girl has a different experience.
That's probably
absolutely hated girls' camp. I did not enjoy the ward. That's what they're called, ward that I grew up in.
Yeah, no.
Oh my gosh. And then to be 3 hours away
and not be able to escape
in like a cabin with these people and these leaders who were not very nice to me, and these girls were just nasty girls. Ugh, it was terrible. Even Heston was like watching this thing on Instagram or TikTok, and they're singing this song, which I listen to it now, and I'm like, that's so horrible. And he's like, what is this? And I start singing the song, and he's like, is this for real, like what you did at girls' camp? And I'm like, oh yeah, this, like, you sing these songs. And I was singing him other songs, and he was totally shocked to even hear that that's what was going on up there.
Funny. And it's funny because I don't have very many memories of girls' camp. I don't know if I just like, I feel like I was just there to be there for, like, and hang out. Like I had no, like, I literally was a tag along.
Yeah.
I actually don't even know why they let me. I don't even know why they let me come.
They were trying to convert you, so of course they want you to be there.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm over here like, not gonna happen.
I'm not committing to this.
I'm like straight up like, nope. But I'm here for a good time.
Yeah.
I'm here
and we did have fun with each other. And I felt like the years that you were there, it was definitely more bearable. But there were a couple of times where I like fought with my mom about going because it was just a horrible experience all around for me in general.
And I feel like I was just there, like
bopping around.
I was just there.
We made it fun, but
might have helped that I was just bopping around. Maybe took off some pressure from you. I'm just like do.
I did everything in my power to not go, and there was only 1 year that I didn't have to go. And I think it was the last year, and it was like such a huge relief. And I remember telling my mom, if I have a daughter and she feels the way that I felt about our ward, I will never make her go to girls camp and experience what I experienced.
Because you're not really getting the experience you're intended to get out of it at that point anyway. Mm-mm. So it's kind of like what, you know.
Yeah.
But only things I really remember are, I remember making ice cream, like the
shaking it in the bag and stuff.
Yeah, I remember doing that. I remember you when your nose bleeds. And then I remember the bunk beds and the cameras. Mm-hmm. That's really... I remember there being, like, music and dance. Yeah. But not...
One thing I remember was they do, like, a dance at the end of it. Yeah, we did a lot of hiking. Yeah. But there was a dance at the end of it. And there was these girls that were doing back handsprings.
Did we show them up?
Uh-huh. And they thought they were so cool doing back handsprings. I
feel like I vaguely remember this
now. And I remember a couple of girls like coming to you and me and saying, these girls, they're doing these back handsprings and they like, you can do backflip, right? And we're like, yeah. And so we just like, we're doing backflips.
We're like, okay, yeah. It's like,
and I just remember it being like, that was like the ultimate
serve
thing. Because we were what? We weren't that old,
like 12, 11.
Yeah, probably 12 or 13.
I don't know. I guess it depends on what year.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to be 13 to go to girls' camp, don't you? Or 12,
I think
11?
It's 12. I don't know. I don't know how it works now, age-wise. I haven't been with the youth for a while.
Haven't been a youth. I think you so, I mean, but I was always younger than you.
Just barely, but they let you always come. We were always together because you were like
I wouldn't have gone if they were my friend. Do that.
Yeah, it would have been.
I'd have been like, what would be the point?
Terrible. I mean, it already was terrible.
I feel like sometimes we were really good at just like blocking that out.
Yeah, we did. Thankfully, did do a good job with that because. And I'm not trying to like bash on the church or anything, but this is my individual experience.
Yeah.
I really disliked my ward growing up. I had a lot of adults like go out of their way to be so mean to me. And I didn't know why. I didn't understand. And it didn't really make sense to me. And then a lot of the girls were most of them were fine, but you know, there were the few.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of situations too, and I will say I was that kid that I was naive. I was in my own little world. I was doing my thing. I didn't give a crap a lot of the time, like or notice anything about people. But there'd be times where like somebody would be mad or something would happen, and I'm like, what? What did we have? What did we do? And then we're like, all right, well.
And apparently it was always my fault for some reason.
Well, yeah, naturally. Yeah, I think and it probably didn't help that we didn't care.
Yeah.
It probably
I think that's what I think that's what really ticked off a lot of people because we weren't being mean. We really weren't. But it just like rubbed people
but I'm also really not gonna feel bad. I'm like, if I didn't do anything, does that make sense? Like I'm not gonna
were you there for the faces thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was what was going on in my head.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. Chandler and I were like, we were making faces at each other. Or to my mom, right? We were like just being goofy and silly. And then this girl like runs out of the room bawling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's so weird.
We're like, did we miss something? Like,
like what happened?
So that's the thing. Like, we're so just not even, because we knew what was going on.
Yeah. And then later, this leader came over to my house. Were you there?
I feel like I was, or you guys told me, but I didn't even think about that.
I was like, something about that girl crying.
Was it when I lived with you?
It might have been.
Or was it when we were younger?
No, I think it might have been when you lived with us. And we were like saying like, what happened to that girl? And she goes, oh, come on. Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you were making faces at her. And me and you and my mom were all like, that's absolutely not what happened. Not even a little bit.
Like, I probably didn't even know. No offense. I don't mean this in a bad way. That you were in the room or anything until that moment.
Yeah, but she just made it all about herself somehow, and it was your fault, and it was my fault.
That's what my head went to when I like thought of. Because it's like we didn't realize even.
Yeah, and I remember my mom like really coming to our defense and saying that is not what happened at all. But there was a lot of like pretty negative situations in my ward growing up.
But the good thing is sometimes you just gotta like. Because I think that happens, like, just in general.
Yeah.
People take something, you know, it could be taken the wrong way or whatever. And I guess that probably comes back to, like, what we were kind of talking about earlier.
Yeah.
We knew our intentions. We weren't trying to be hurtful, anything. A lot of the times I feel like I probably just, like, avoided situations because I didn't want to. And that probably came off as, like, rude. But it's like, but then situations like that, it's like, I don't want to feel like I'm doing anything hurtful because my intentions were never to, like, hurt somebody's feelings.
Right.
Like, I didn't even know what was going on half the time. I was just there a lot. Like, so, I mean, not realizing sometimes, like, I guess, like, your actions do have an effect, but they weren't intended for that.
Yeah. Just
by any means.
It was a weird experience, like, for me growing up in that ward.
Yeah. And some unfortunate things of just, like, but then it just, like, you can't do anything about those situations and those feelings of, like, but I have to continue to be able to do.
Yeah. And
because we were just doing anything wrong. It'd be different if we were being,
going out of our way trying to be hurtful.
Me, like, which there was no point to do that. It wasn't even worth, I don't think. I know some people, you know, I don't think it's not worth the time to do that stuff. So I think that's where it's like, well, I can't feel like I can't just do or be. And, like, have to monitor myself, everything that I'm doing because even of how some other girl might react. So I think that's tricky is, like, I think, and that's I know young kids sometimes go through that too of, I think, a lot of navigating at that young age of, like, your emotions and not, I mean, there's so much going on for young teenagers too that it's, you have insecurities or fears and you don't know how to control your, you know, so I think there's a lot more going on to those things that we didn't realize, and we were naive, so we didn't know. Yeah. But, like, as an adult, you look back and I'm like, oh, there's definitely just, like, so many just, like, teenage, like, hormones or other things going on and on both ends that you don't even realize. Yeah, and I remember going through that experience and then saying to, like, myself or to my mom, like, to be aware of those kids or girls that you do come in contact with as an adult. Yeah. Because I wasn't there all the time. We had a pretty rigorous gymnastics schedule and competition season. That was hard. So I wasn't always there and able to participate in everything. And I think that was also hard for people at church because we were kind of taught, like, if you have a sport on Sunday, you need to choose church over your sport. Yeah. Well, I didn't choose that. Yeah. I chose my sport. Yeah. And I think that, like, made people look at my family a certain way or look at me a certain way because I was old enough to make that decision. Yeah. And I chose my sport over church. And I think that was not the right thing to do in a lot of people's minds. So I think that immediately put a lot of adults, like, on edge with me. Yeah. They already had, like, a starting, like, what's the word? Like, before they even judgment. They already had that standard set before. And so it's like everything just fed off of that. Yeah. And so, and there's, like, other things that are coming to mind. I remember being in a class and I didn't have my scriptures with me that day. Not a big deal. Yeah. Right? There's 15 other girls that have their scriptures. Or I can walk down to the library if you're really worried about it. But I didn't have my scriptures, and another girl didn't have her scriptures. And the lady that was teaching the class was like, okay, stand up. You don't have your scriptures. And I was like, no, I'm not standing up. And she goes, well, you need to find someone that has scriptures. I'm like, right here. I'm all set. Yeah, like I'm good. And I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Yeah. Because I was just like, that was so weird, whatever. Yeah. People, like, a few adults came over to talk to me about it. They were, like, apologizing for this lady, like, making us stand up in class. And I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but it was just, like, a silly little thing that she drew attention to. And it was like, you didn't bring your scriptures. It's almost like, and I don't know this person, I don't want to be, like, mean or judgmental about it, but, like, intended on the embarrassment to, like, teach a lesson. To teach a lesson. I don't think that's the way to do it. I agree, especially with a kid. And it could have been like, oh, here, you can borrow my scriptures or find a buddy that has one. Like, if you want to, like, get your point across of making, like, I'm not saying that was, like, a big deal, but, like, consequences or whatever, but, like, doing it through, like, an embarrassment so people can point and laugh or whatever kind of thing. It was such a weird way to get your... That's not how you should do that, and especially as a kid. Like
with the church thing
you
too.
Luckily you were a kid that was like very strong and very confident and very like okay whatever. But some kid that might have really embarrassed them.
Yeah.
And really like hurt them.
Totally. Or
to
been
where
enough.
like, you made me stand up and almost like let people see and like it's like that point fingers and laugh kind of thing. I'm like no.
Yeah.
That's not how you.
Or gets a kid to a point where they're like, I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
Because
like, why
it's not
do I
about
come back in that situation?
Yeah, it's not about being perfect and correct at church. It's about showing, like, being there and getting that and having that connection with Christ.
And it's like you're taking that away from me.
Totally. It was like very robbed from me.
Yeah.
I felt like.
Yeah, that's I didn't know about that one.
You didn't?
Like,
oh man.
I feel like maybe I've heard about it, but I
could do a whole episode on the adults in my ward that were so crappy to me.
I know. And sadly, like you hear so many stories about people just and not just like the Mormon culture, just like religion, like of just and it's sad and it breaks my heart. And like there's going to be bad things everywhere. Like
Absolutely,
there's crooked doctors, like there's situations where you are. And so it really breaks my heart that something, which obviously I think is so big.
Yeah, important.
That it sucks that you do have people have these experiences with these awful people taking advantage of their power, advantage of religion and using it in that. And I'm like, that's not what it was intended for. But using it and twisting those things or using it as like power or like scare tactics.
Like guilting you to do what they think is right and stuff.
And so I'm like, it's sad when you have those experiences because then it puts a bad taste in religion in general and you don't know how to like almost like heal those things or you don't want to or you think everybody is or that's your experience. So then you do have that. And that comes with really anything. And so I'm like, that just makes me so sad.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Luckily, like my personality, I was a child that could deal with it.
Yeah.
And kind of take it. And it didn't really change much.
Yeah.
But now as an adult, I look back and go,
that could have easily have,
that was so messed up.
Yeah.
Like I would never do that to a kid.
Yeah. And it's so true because, I mean, I've luckily, and that's one thing I'm so thankful for that I have that personality that I'm very like confident and know and don't let people like change my opinions and things. Like I stand firm on like my beliefs and stuff, but not a lot of kids do, I think. And that's normal because they are growing, they're developing who they are, they're still learning, and that's completely fine. And don't get me wrong, I'm still learning. I'm still things as an adult. Imagine a kid who like you're still figuring out life. You're a girl, your hormone. Like there's so many things you just don't know that it's like then you have that so easy to be convinced or changed or taught to believe like one way or the other or scared.
Yeah.
Like so easy to scare. So I'm like that's not fun.
I agree.
But I mean, we made the best of
We did make the best
our
of
situations.
it.
I think we tried to be like light about it and fun and like laugh about situations and just be like this we can't do anything about it. We know who we are. That's one thing I think big. I really appreciate about us is we always were very confident in who we are as kids and as people that we're like we can't do anything about that. We know this and this. And so we got to stand strong in what we think and what we believe and just continue to have fun. We were aware to the point we needed to be aware of things but not to where we felt like we couldn't be ourselves and enjoy life and stuff like that. So I think I appreciated that about us as that young of an age. And I think that really helped like our friendship for
big time. And I think that was a rare dynamic that we had with each other for sure.
That we were able to like carry on with us for sure.
Yeah.
But what was the other strawberry? We would go to strawberry. That was another camps that we would do with your dad. Was that just like daughter, daddy, and strawberry? Yeah. Is that strawberry?
Yeah, those were fun.
Those ones were fun.
Yeah, because it was just
remember like waking up and freaking cold, but making like breakfast
and having pancakes and stuff. Yeah,
those were fun.
That was fun. That was
pretty.
like also that was a church activity too.
I remember like driving.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I remember Kimmy. I remember her being there. She has like twins now, doesn't she? So crazy. But yeah, I remember them being up there one of the times.
I'm pretty sure you and I are the only ones that have ever called her Kimmy.
What do people call her?
Kim.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can call her Kim.
I have always called her Kimmy. I don't know why, but
did people not call her that when we were younger?
Mm-mm.
We just decided that was what we were going to call her. All right. Well, sorry if you didn't like that. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I think about, or like when you were saying Kimmy, and I'm like, oh, I forgot. I think that you and I were the only ones that ever called her Kimmy.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Right. I always liked her.
Yeah. So stinking cute. She's so sweet. Mm-hmm. Well, kind of like Karen. Who would we call her? GIF? Maybe we just made up names for people. Gidge. I don't know.
I don't remember what it was.
Well, apparently we just made up names, which I don't even know what that was or what that means anymore or why that happened.
She still writes it on my wall for my birthday.
I love it. Yeah. I see it all the time. Yeah. And I'm like, and I remember it, but I'm like, how did that happen?
And like Sister Shreve, remember her? We just called her Shreve.
Well, we had who was something dog?
Kevin.
Yeah, we had random name. Updog, yeah. Mm-hmm. We used random names, I guess.
We had fun. We made things fun. I don't think other people liked it, obviously, but whatever.
Sorry if you didn't. I don't know. We didn't even probably realize half the time.
We didn't even realize, yeah.
But those were all fun trips that we did. And then just back and forth, like me going to Arizona, you coming to Lovington. Mm-hmm. Those were always good.
All good things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fun little travels. Hopefully.
More to come.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can just travel with us and go St. Simon's.
Yeah. It would be kind of cool. I don't know if this is even feasible, but to like record a podcast in St. Simon's.
It would be cool.
Yeah, I don't know if we can make it work. I'm like looking around at all the
I know people that have equipment. Maybe they would let us rent it.
That'd be cool.
Like figure out how we could find somebody in Dallas that we could rent mics and cameras from.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Fun. Just to do like
something different.
Yeah, just a little different. And it doesn't need to be the whole like 3-camera setup.
Yeah, like
as long as like we've got one good video and like good audio, I think we can make it work.
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
Yeah,
I think it'd be fun to do that just like in general one time.
Yeah,
just,
that would be fun. And I wouldn't want to take away from like anything going on that weekend.
Yeah,
you know,
make it be a quick little recap of what we were doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Even that would be easy.
It'd be so fun.
That would be fun. But hopefully, we can do some more little adult vacays. Mm-hmm. Not or with kids, but like as adults.
Yeah,
like,
as
do
adults
stuff. I feel like we haven't like yet, which understandably.
We did Utah together for Chad's wedding. That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
I really liked staying there.
We were just in Idaho.
We were in
Idaho? That Idaho? Was it Utah? Is that
it was Utah?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was Utah.
I thought it was Idaho.
We did Chad's second wedding. Yeah, was in Idaho. That was a lot of fun too. Where did we stay? Oh, in that house.
Airbnb. Yeah. Big house. Mm-hmm. With like everybody.
Yeah, that was a fun trip.
So that was fun. I was glad I was able to come to that. I feel like there was something else.
In between?
Maybe I forgot about Utah. I feel like there was another one I was thinking of that we did not that long ago that maybe it was Idaho.
Whenever Chandler travels to other countries, she always brings us like a t-shirt. She just went to Canada, so she got Roan the cutest jammies.
So cute.
They're like little, I don't think they're footy, just down to the ankle.
Yeah, they're down to the ankles.
Zippered up jammies with the red maple leaf on it. Has a little like
butt flap that says Canada,
so cute. It's really cute.
So cute.
And then she got me a really cool t-shirt and little Heston and Liv.
Oh, hockey t-shirt.
Yeah, and then some maple syrup.
Yeah, I got to try that.
And a Canadian leaf.
Was it pretty good
It was
today?
really good. Yeah.
I mean,
I had
feel
it
like
this
it
morning
has
on
to
a
be.
pancake.
We've had things there, but I didn't buy any for me to bring home. I just
it was really yummy.
But I'm like, it has to be.
Yeah, and some chocolate and a cute little maple leaf ornament.
That's like one of my favorite things to do when we travel is like try to find while we're out and about stuff for people. Mainly like I do y'all and I have some other friends.
Yeah.
Like Paul and Ashley I usually try to get to, which I didn't get to this time for Canada, but we usually try to bring them back something too. But
yes, we always
it's just
appreciate
so fun.
It. It's fun. Yeah, we've got t-shirts from Hessen has that cool green one from Berlin.
Oh yeah.
And he has an Ireland one. I think they're both
has
green.
Belgium and Ireland.
I have the Ireland one. I have an Ireland one too. Yeah. So yeah, it's fun to get the stuff from the places without having to travel there.
I know. Just try the little knickknacks. I try to do the little candy, something to like from there, but it's just fun. Yeah, I enjoy it. It's cute. But one of these days we'll just hit y'all all along.
Yeah, for sure.
And you guys don't even have to plan anything. You just have to show up.
That's exactly it. Say no more.
Yeah.
I'm there.
So great. Well, that was fun. Okay.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Well, thanks for listening to our, I guess, some travel adventures. And kind of teased off, but some fun
traumatic experiences that we are better for.
Yeah, there we go. You learn from them all. Well, thank you guys, and we will talk to y'all next time.
Yep.